Evelyn absent-mindedly snapped the number 2 pencil between her slender fingers. The cracking sound of the broken pieces disturbed her all too familiar flashbacks of a time she often tried to forget. The slight crease in her forehead was the only real evidence of tension. She stared at the school playground, but her vision was still slightly clouded with memories of the past that intermingled with the present. The sunlight beamed through her office and illuminated her gray eyes. Those eyes could grant either a soothing warmth of acceptance to a faithful friend, or a frigid frost of disapproval to an eternal enemy. Her tall, statuesque frame was intimidating to many of her male colleagues, but her gentle compassion was adored by most of her female colleagues. There had always been speculation about her sexuality, but no one ever dared to move past their secret curiosity. Some may not have approved of her being lesbian, but they all agreed her presence in the school was much more important than her personal life. Danielle Rivers might not agree with Evelyn's silent protectors, if that possibly meant she wouldn't get a chance to know the sexy guidance counselor on a more intimate level than today's meeting. Danielle was apprehensive about Miss Hargrove's invitation to discuss Colin's school performance. She hadn't set foot in a classroom in over 18 years, but since the day she became a legal guardian to her 14-year-old nephew, Danielle had done many things that she had never imagined she would ever do. She continued to study the woman who sat sternly behind the desk, unaware of her observer. Danielle found herself not resenting this walk down memory lane after all. She stretched out her silent inspection of the guidance counselor a little bit longer before she interrupted the woman's deepest thoughts. By the stiff shoulders and clenched hands, Danielle assumed they must be troubling thoughts. The furrowed brow made Danielle want to smooth the tension away with a soothing caress from her lips. She took note of the woman's body, adorned in high couture fashion, from the violet iconic Diane von Furstenberg wrap dress to the delicate George Jensen sterling silver pendant. Danielle appreciated designers as well as she appreciated women. She could spot quality in both a mile away. Her eyes lingered a little bit longer, and she almost purred at the thought of exploring certain regions of the woman's body. If only she had more time. All work and no play had made Danielle in need of a fun night out. Her involuntary celibacy was wreaking havoc on her hormones and household. While simultaneously raising Colin and managing a gentleman's club, Danielle never seemed to have time for the casual sex between consenting adults that she so enjoyed. It wasn't often that she had a day off to do anything other than sleep or run errands. So this meeting had better be worth the eye candy that sat before her. Somehow, she knew it would be without question. When those troubled gray eyes met her own dark brown pupils with a questioning stare, Danielle's time for private scrutiny had expired. The soft rose-colored lips formed into a question, and Danielle was willing to undergo any sort of inquisition from the guidance counselor. "Mrs. Rivers?" Evelyn couldn't mask the initial shock from her tone. She wondered just how long this stunning woman had been standing outside of her office door. Evelyn silently scolded herself for noticing the woman's curvy body, full lips, and magnificent smile. She used her irritation of being spied upon to redirect the sexual energy that was building within every fiber of her body. Colin's mother wasn't going to make that an easy task. "Please call me Danielle," the sexy spy warmly offered as she swayed across the room, closing the short distance between the door and Evelyn's desk. The brief touch of soft skin upon softer skin as they greeted each other felt like the prelude to foreplay. The imagery resonated throughout Danielle's body, all the way down to the throb in her pelvic area and the clench of her toes. Where in the hell was Rod? Evelyn was suddenly developing a familiar migraine. The tension in her frontal lobe competed with the butterflies dancing in her taut abdominal muscles. The sweet, warm fragrance of Danielle's perfume tickled her nose and was just the aromatherapy needed to soothe her headache. She smelled like the promise of an even more sensual healing. Trouble. This woman was going to be problematic.